three things that I've discovered, or not discovered, but I've cemented that I recognize in every successful person is, number one, they always get into the room. They find a way to get in the room, meaning get around other successful people, and they never want to stop learning. So do what you got to do. Get to that conference, get to that event. Even if you got to sometimes kind of stretch to make it happen, just do whatever you got to do to get into that room. Secondly, always be committed to sharpening your craft. Be relentless, be obsessed with getting better. Some small percentage better, make progress towards something. Athletically, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever it is, just get a little bit better. Be obsessed with it. And lastly, never bitch about the market. Never bitch about your circumstances. So if you do that, those three things, that's basically it. Don't bitch about the market, be obsessed with your craft, and find a way to get into the room. Elbow your way, beg your way in, steal your way. Whatever you got to do, just get in the room. If you do that, there'll be growth for you on the other side of all those challenges. I promise you, it'll never fail you. It's never failed me. I'm sure you can agree with it too, my man. But that's what I would tell any young entrepreneur, or it doesn't matter, anyone who's a newer entrepreneur at any age in your life, stick with that. Thankfully, a lot of AI companies have come in and taken up a lot of real estate. So it's going to have a new iteration. San Francisco 2.0, 3.0, whatever you want to call it, it's going to look different. But I'm hopeful for it, like everyone is, because we all want to root for major cities in the US because the country needs it. And this can hopefully turn into something else. But to your point, I think there's going to be a national referendum on, all of us that were saying, hey, it's not that people are crazy or they don't want to believe you when you're bringing up an opposing view, but isn't that the basis of science, is that it's an ongoing discussion and that it evolves? Because correct me if I'm wrong, there were scientists that said the world was flat. Now, anyone that objected to that, if they would have been arguing with them and getting in their face saying, it's flat, it's science, shut up, where would that have led us to, right? It is an ongoing thing. So you should welcome discussion. You should welcome debate, dialogue, do it respectfully, of course. But even those that were trying to do it respectfully, to your point, were canceled, dismissed. Some are even missing. Journalists in China, right, who we rolled out the red carpet for here. If you are a journalist or a medical professional that spoke out there in China, you're either dead, missing, you've had some type of a physical gag order put on you. I don't mean just an actual legal one, a physical one. And that's how you're treated because you simply have a differing point of view. Like, I will always champion free speech and open dialogue and discourse. That's what makes this country great. You can talk to people, share your views, don't share your views, but you can't cancel people simply because they don't agree with you. You can't call them, supporters of this party or that party, or say that you're nuts, or that you only watch that news network. That's why you're coming up with it. Like, where has it gotten to in this country where you can't just have an opposing view? And if you're not part of the mainstream, you're suddenly some jerk or some outsider or crazy. Like, call me crazy then, but I'm gonna stay on that side, because to your point, every conspiracy theory that people came up with over the last 20 years, some overwhelming percentage of them have either turned out to be true, and no one will give anyone credit for that. They never will. So I'm glad I can actually be on a podcast like this and we can air it out and talk about it. And I hope, everyone that's listening to this recognize that. Most of them turned out to be true. And that's not an I gotcha moment or I told you so moment. It's just, hey, just listen to people, right? You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to swallow it. Just listen. It's okay. Stop taking it so like as if it's some kind of threat, because it didn't fit the national narrative. And that's why people got canceled, right? And that's why it got to that point. But I'm hoping there's a massive referendum here in a couple months, and we can actually get back to a place where we can talk and have debate and discussion and challenge things, because it makes us better. It makes us smarter. It makes us sharper, as opposed to just being so linear with it and taking it hook, line, and sinker.
100%, man. You got it down, man. You are on fire.
Thanks for opening the forum for that. I appreciate it.
There's no question. Next time I come to San Francisco, me and you are having lunch or dinner or something, because I think that we could probably extend this podcast another 2 hours, just on things that we've probably been through in the last 2-3 years now. And I just think it's important that we all start talking about it and letting people know that it's okay to have differing opinions and it's okay to think different. That's what it means to be an American, man. And I love America, man. I want to see San Francisco do good. It doesn't make me feel good when I see the country going through the things that it's going through right now. I mean, you can't have a sovereign country without free speech. and without closed borders and without some sort of rule of law. I mean, you can't go into CVS and Walgreens and just steal whatever you want and think we're going to have an okay society, or poop on the streets, or just let homeless run wild anywhere they want to go, wherever they want to go, and bringing down values of real estate or hurting communities. You just can't have that. Not to say that we're not going to be empathetic in some sort of way to try to help these people that really need help. Of course, you're going to help these people. We all have hearts, man. We're Americans, and most of us Americans, we have some sort of religious views and values, which every religion, by the way, regardless of what religion you are, we all believe in taking care of the poor and helping people that are less fortunate. Every single religion has that built in. I think that we're going to get along because the truth is that we think the same in a lot of ways. And we think the same because we're both American patriots, I think. I mean, I think we love America and we want America to be good. And I think ultimately, we got to continue to fight the fight. And it is a little bit of a fight right now. I mean, we got 50% of the country divided in a lot of different ways. And I think, us bringing each other back together in one room to say, look, we're all Americans, man. Let's fight together on the same team, right? Let's stop fighting against each other. We all want the same things, right? We want a safe country. We want the rule of law. We want to be happy, right? We want economic success. We want to do well. And that's what makes us Americans. And that's why we're the greatest country in the world. And so, but that's why we're going to be good friends, I think.
Exactly right, man.
But anyways, hey, man, look, the last question I wanted to ask you is, what lessons or what couple tips can you throw out to our audience? And, as we wrap this up, to like that, that small entrepreneur, man, maybe they're struggling a little bit right now. Things ain't going well for them. They're just trying to, you made it, man. You built a level of success in your life that most, would only dream of having. And the question is now, what do we got to do now, man?
Yeah.
The people that are just fighting the fight, man, what do they got to remember?
I think you remember, so, this goes off of what we were talking about here in terms of our values. And this is a Tony Robbins line, right? Remember that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. So everything that's going on as an entrepreneur, all the struggle, it's supposed to be hard. Life is supposed to be hard. Working is supposed to be hard. Building wealth is supposed to be hard. It's, silly, right? If it was easy, everyone would have it. Everyone would do it. And even then, some people would still manage to fuck it up. But just recognize, number one, it's supposed to be hard. Embrace the struggle. But I'll tell you this, because I traveled a lot last year. I spoke at a lot of conferences. I got in a lot of rooms. I hosted some big events. I talked to successful people because, again, I've stayed curious, even at 45, the age of 45, from when I was, 19, 20 years old in a fraternity around some really successful alumni. I always want to be curious, but I'll tell you this, the three things that I've discovered, or not discovered, but I've cemented that I recognize in every successful person is, number one, they always get into the room. They find a way to get in the room, meaning get around other successful people, and they never want to stop learning. So do what you got to do. Get to that conference, get to that event, even if you got to sometimes kind of stretch to make it happen, just do whatever you got to do to get into that room. Secondly, always be committed to sharpening your craft. Be relentless, be obsessed with getting better. Some small percentage better, make progress towards something. Athletically, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever it is, just get a little bit better. Be obsessed with it. And lastly, never bitch about the market. Never bitch about your circumstances. So if you do that, those three things, that's basically it. Don't bitch about the market, be obsessed with your craft, and find a way to get into the room. Elbow your way, beg your way, and steal your way. Whatever you got to do, just get in the room. If you do that, there'll be growth for you on the other side of all those challenges. I promise you, it'll never fail you. It's never failed me. I'm sure you could agree with it too, my man. But that's what I would tell any young entrepreneur, or it doesn't matter, anyone who's a newer entrepreneur at any age in your life, stick with that.
Love it, man. Love it. Great minds think alike. And you couldn't have said it better. What I want everybody, first of all, tell us how we can connect with you. Tell us a little bit about, how our audience can support you in some way, and how we can, get a hold of you if we we need to know more about what you do?
I'll tell you this, man, this has been one of the best, no joke, podcasts, refreshing conversations I've had with anybody in as long as I can remember. So thank you so much for having me on. Obviously, connecting with you and more of your people is clearly my tribe. And the best way to connect with me, guys, is on Instagram. It's Arjun Mortgage, just ARJUN Mortgage. There's a cartoon caricature profile head that pops up, then you'll know you're on the right one. But that's the way I like to interface with people. I exchange and connect with so many people on there. And yeah, so please get in touch with me there. I love to collaborate, talk, chop it up, whatever it is.
If you like this video and you want to watch another one, click right here. If you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.